The lecture hall at Harvard buzzed with anticipation. Students whispered, pens tapped against notebooks, and the air smelled faintly of chalk and coffee. At the front stood Professor Harold Whitaker, a man whose reputation stretched across the academic world. He was known for his sharp tongue and sharper mind, the kind of professor who made even graduate students nervous. Tonight, he was about to address one of the most perplexing problems in modern mathematics. With a dramatic pause, he wrote a massive equation across the board, each symbol crisp under the fluorescent lights. "Ladies and gentlemen," he announced, "this is known as the Carter probability paradox. It has baffled mathematicians for decades, and let me be perfectly clear." He underlined the final symbol with a flourish. "It is impossible to solve." The room hushed. Pens froze mid-air. The word impossible carried a finality, especially when spoken by a man like Whitaker. In the third row sat a girl who didn't belong, at least not in the traditional sense. Her name was Amelia Carter, only 12 years old, with a notebook clutched tightly to her chest. She had begged her older brother Nathan, a Harvard sophomore, to sneak her into the lecture. Her brown curls framed a face far too young for a university hall, but her eyes held a spark that matched the brightest minds in the room. While others stared at the board in awe, Amelia tilted her head, studying the symbols like pieces of a puzzle she had seen before. Something about the equation tickled her memory. Her pencil darted across the page, scribbling lines and loops while the professor continued his booming explanation. He pointed to the board. "Generations of scholars have tried and failed. The paradox collapses on itself no matter how you approach it. Therefore, it remains, forever, unsolvable." The class murmured in agreement. Students nodded, resigned to the authority of the man before them. But Amelia's hand shot up. The hall fell silent. Dozens of heads turned. Professor Whitaker blinked, taken aback by the small hand in the sea of older faces. His eyes narrowed when he saw her. This tiny girl, out of place, daring to interrupt him. "Yes?" he asked, voice dripping with condescension. Amelia's voice wavered at first, but grew steadier with each word. Excuse me, Professor, but I think there's a mistake. You said it collapses, but only if you stop at the 12th iteration. If you loop it back, it doesn't collapse, it stabilizes." The room went deathly quiet. Whitaker froze, marker in hand. "Nonsense," he barked. But Amelia stood, clutching her notebook. "No, really. Look." She hurried down the aisle, her small sneakers squeaking against the floor, and climbed the steps to the front. Gasps rippled through the hall. Nathan buried his face in his hands, whispering, "Oh no, she's going to get herself kicked out." Amelia flipped open her notebook, its pages covered in numbers. She pointed at her sequence, her pencil trembling but her eyes fierce. "See, if you recycle the sequence here, the values don't explode. They balance. It's not impossible. It's just hidden." Whitaker leaned over her notebook, his frown deepening. He snatched it from her hands, scanning furiously. His face paled. Around them, students craned their necks, whispering. For the first time in years, Harold Whitaker had no immediate rebuttal. His hand trembled slightly as he set the notebook down. This is nonsense," he muttered, though the crack in his voice betrayed him. "You don't know what you're talking about. You're a child." Amelia stood her ground. "I may be a child, but numbers don't lie." The story spread like wildfire. By morning, whispers about the 12-year-old who challenged Harvard swept through campus. Students who had witnessed it couldn't stop retelling the scene. Forums lit up with debate. Blogs speculated about the mysterious girl, and one shaky cell phone video of her stepping to the front of the lecture hall gained thousands of views overnight. Reporters began sniffing around, but Amelia's family tried to shield her. To them, she was still just a kid who loved puzzles, not someone meant to be thrust into the public eye. Nathan, however, couldn't resist teasing her. "You know you're basically famous now, right?" He grinned one morning over breakfast. Amelia rolled her eyes. "I don't want to be famous. I just wanted him to see he was wrong." But deep inside, she couldn't deny the thrill. The spark of proving herself in front of minds so much older and supposedly wiser. Meanwhile, Professor Whitaker sat alone in his office, replaying the moment in his mind. For decades, his authority had been unquestioned. He had built a career on impossible problems and his ability to declare them unsolvable. And then a 12-year-old had walked in and undone him. At first, he tried to dismiss it, chalk it up to a fluke, a coincidence. But in the dead of night, he found himself returning to her notebook, the numbers haunting him. The sequence worked. The impossible was possible. At home, Amelia spent nights hunched over her desk, the glow of her lamp pooling over endless scribbles. She wasn't satisfied with just proving Whitaker wrong. She wanted to understand why her loop worked, what it meant beyond one paradox. Her mother would peek in and sigh. "Sweetheart, you need sleep. You're 12, not a graduate student." But Amelia shook her head. "I can't stop thinking about it. If numbers can change like this, what else can they do?" Then came the knock on their door. Standing there was Professor Whitaker himself, his face drawn and stern. Nathan stiffened, ready to defend his sister. Their mother stepped forward, protective, but Whitaker simply said, "I need to speak with Amelia." His voice held no arrogance now, only desperation. Against her family's protests, Amelia agreed. They sat at the kitchen table, her notebook between them. "What you did," Whitaker said slowly, "wasn't just clever. It was revolutionary. That sequence, if extended, it might unlock something far beyond mathematics." Amelia's eyes widened. "Beyond math? Like what?" He leaned closer. "Stability patterns, probability models, things that control chance itself," she frowned. "But it's just numbers." Whitaker's smile was cold. "Numbers are everything." The days that followed blurred into something dangerous. Whitaker began calling Amelia constantly, insisting on meeting, urging her to share more of her notes. At first, she was flattered. Here was the great Professor Whitaker treating her like an equal. But soon, unease crept in. He spoke not of curiosity, but of control. "Do you realize what this could mean?" he whispered one night as they pored over equations. "The ability to bend probability, to make the impossible happen on command." Amelia shivered. "That's not what I want. I just like solving puzzles." His eyes hardened. "You don't understand the gift you've stumbled upon." It was Nathan who finally confronted her. "Amelia, he's using you. This isn't about teaching or discovery, it's about power." She didn't want to believe it, but in her heart, she knew he was right. Whitaker's tone had grown sharper, his patience thinner, and when she hesitated to share more, his mask slipped. "Don't be foolish, girl," he snapped during one meeting. "Without me, no one will ever take your ideas seriously. Do you want to be remembered, or do you want to fade into nothing?" His words stung, but they also ignited something in her. She looked him straight in the eye. "I don't care if I'm remembered. I care if I'm right." That night, she shut her notebook and told Nathan she was done with Whitaker. But the professor wasn't done with her. The university began buzzing again. Rumors of Whitaker's secret experiments, strange noises from the East Wing lab, equations scribbled on walls no one else understood. And then the letter arrived under their door. "Meet me at the East Wing laboratory at midnight. Bring your notebook. Let us see if you truly understand the consequences of what you've begun." Amelia's hands trembled as she read it. Nathan tried to tear it up. Their mother forbade it. But Amelia's eyes, filled with quiet fire, said otherwise. "I have to go," she whispered. "He's going to break something bigger than math, and I'm the only one who can stop him." The East Wing laboratory pulsed with eerie blue light when they arrived. Inside, machines hummed, chalkboards overflowed with symbols, and Whitaker stood at the center of it all, looming over a machine unlike anything Amelia had ever seen. "You came," he said softly. "Good. You should witness history." He gestured to the machine. "Your sequence unlocked stability. With it, I can bend probability itself." Amelia's voice shook, but she held her ground. "You're not bending it. You're breaking it." What followed was unlike anything the university had ever seen, an equation duel. Whitaker scribbled furiously across the board, shouting about stability, about control. Amelia countered with her own notes, pointing out recursion, loops, and fragile balances. The room crackled with energy, the machine humming louder with each line of math. Finally, Amelia cried, "Your sequence collapses at the 20th iteration. It doesn't stabilize, it explodes." And the machine did just that, sparking, roaring, tearing at the air. Together, Amelia and Nathan frantically re-entered her loop-back sequence, forcing the machine to reset. After a terrifying moment, silence fell. The lab dimmed. The machine died. Whitaker slumped against the wall, hollow-eyed, whispering, "I was going to change everything." Amelia looked at him, her voice steady. "You were going to destroy everything." In the aftermath, Whitaker's career crumbled. The university covered the mess as best they could, but he would never recover. Amelia returned to her ordinary life, though nothing felt ordinary anymore. One evening, as she sat on the porch, her mother asked what she was thinking. Amelia gazed at the stars. "Professor Whitaker said impossible was forever, but I think impossible just means no one's looked at it the right way yet." And with her notebook resting on her knees, she smiled. Somewhere, in the vastness of numbers and stars, another puzzle waited for her to solve.